I sat frozen on that cold wooden bench, my hands trembling in my lap. My ex, Daniel, stood tall and confident, his voice echoing through the courtroom. "She's unstable, Your Honor. She lies to our daughter. I want full custody." His words felt like knives cutting through my chest. I wanted to scream, to defend myself, but my throat was dry, my voice trapped somewhere deep inside. The judge, an older man with tired eyes, leaned forward slightly, and I could see it, that flicker of doubt in his face. He was buying Daniel's lies. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the rest. I glanced at my daughter, Lily, sitting quietly beside me, her little hands clutched around her pink backpack. She looked so small in that big room, but her eyes, they weren't afraid. They were watching everything, sharp and steady. And then, in that heavy silence, she stood up. My breath hitched. "I brought a video from Daddy's phone," she said, her voice clear and cutting through the courtroom's tension. "I think the judge should see it." For a moment, no one moved. Even Daniel's smirk faltered. The room fell completely silent, like time itself had stopped. I felt the air shift as all eyes turned to my daughter. My heart squeezed in my chest. What video? My mind raced. Daniel's face turned a shade paler, his confidence cracking just a little, his lips pressing into a thin, tight line. The judge raised a brow and motioned for the bailiff to bring Lily forward. She handed over the phone, and I noticed the slight tremble in Daniel's hands as he stepped back. The screen turned on, and for a few seconds there was only static noise and the soft rustle of fabric. Then the video came to life. Daniel's voice filled the room. "I don't care what your mom says, Lily. She's useless. She's crazy. You listen to me, and we'll get rid of her for good, understand? She won't be in our life anymore." Gasps rippled through the courtroom like a wave crashing over stone. My vision blurred with tears, but I couldn't look away. The judge's face hardened, and Daniel's confidence shattered right there, in front of everyone. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Lily stood there, small but unyielding. "Daddy told me to lie," she added quietly. "But I don't want to lie anymore." I felt something shift deep inside me, something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. My lawyer, who had been as silent as me until now, finally found his voice. "Your Honor," he said, his tone steady but sharp, "this changes everything." Daniel's lawyer fumbled with his papers, his face draining of color as the judge slammed his gavel once. "We will take a recess. Bailiff, detain Mr. Daniel pending further review." The room erupted in murmurs, whispers flying like sparks. As Daniel was led away, his eyes found mine, and for the first time I saw fear in them. Real fear. My chest tightened, but this time not from pain, from relief. Lily slipped her small hand into mine, and I gripped it like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. But even as the relief washed over me, a darker thought crept in. If Daniel had planned this much, coaching our daughter to lie, framing me in court, what else had he been hiding? My mind flashed back to the late-night calls I used to overhear, the strange deposits that showed up and disappeared in his accounts, the whispered threats when he thought I was asleep. And then I remembered something else. The storage unit he forbade me from entering. He had said it was for work stuff. But now, every warning bell in my body was ringing. I looked at Lily, her brave little face, and I knew I couldn't stop here. This wasn't over. If he was willing to destroy me in court, what else was he capable of? What was in that storage unit? As we stepped out into the corridor during recess, my lawyer leaned in and whispered, "We've won this round, but be careful. Men like him don't go down easy." My stomach clenched. The courtroom drama might have cracked his mask, but I knew Daniel. He wouldn't let this humiliation slide. He would come back, and next time, it wouldn't just be legal attacks. A shiver ran down my spine, but I straightened my shoulders. For Lily, I had to be strong. She saved me today, and now it was my turn to protect her from the shadows that were still lurking. I could already feel the storm brewing, and deep down I knew this fight was only just beginning. We stepped outside the courtroom, the afternoon sun blinding after the dim, suffocating walls inside. I held Lily's hand tighter, feeling the weight of her tiny fingers wrapped around mine like an anchor. My heart was still pounding from what just happened. People whispered as we passed by, some glancing at me with pity, others with curiosity. But I didn't care. My mind was racing ahead. Daniel's face when the video played, that flash of panic, told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't just about custody. This was deeper, darker, and I had to find out before he found another way to strike. My lawyer, Mr. Patel, walked briskly beside me. "We're filing for an emergency protection order," he muttered, checking his phone. "But you need to lay low for a while. Daniel, men like him, they don't just accept defeat." His words mirrored my own thoughts. My stomach twisted. As we reached the parking lot, I noticed a black SUV idling near the exit. My breath caught. For a split second, I thought it was Daniel's. I froze, my grip tightening on Lily's hand until she winced. But the SUV drove off, and I let out a shaky breath. "Mommy, are we safe now?" Lily asked, her eyes wide, innocence laced with fear. I crouched to her level, forcing a smile. "We're safe, baby. I promise." But inside, my heart was cracking under the weight of that lie. That night, after I tucked Lily into bed, I sat in the dark living room, the only light coming from my phone screen. My fingers hovered over the search bar. Daniel's storage unit rental. My hands shook as I typed. I remembered the name of the facility. He once let it slip during an argument. My pulse spiked as the website loaded. I clicked through, and there it was. His unit number. Still active. A part of me screamed to let it go, to focus on the court case and not poke the hornet's nest. But another part, the stronger part, knew that until I uncovered whatever he was hiding, we'd never truly be safe. I grabbed my keys, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I wrote a quick note for Lily in case she woke up. "Mommy's running an errand. Be back soon. Love you." As I drove through the empty streets, my mind kept looping through memories. The late nights Daniel would come home smelling of sweat and fear, the unexplained bruises on his arms, the whispered phone calls. I had been so blind, so willing to believe his lies just to keep our family intact. But tonight, something snapped inside me. I wasn't going to be the victim anymore. I reached the storage facility, its metal gates looming like the mouth of a monster. I checked the time. 2:14 a.m. The place was deserted. My palms were slick with sweat as I slipped through the side entrance, using the old trick Daniel had once shown me. "In case you ever need to grab something for me," he had said. The memory made me nauseous now. The corridor smelled of dust and rust. My footsteps echoed too loud in the silence. I found his unit, 1137. My hand trembled as I entered the code. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the lock clicked open. The door creaked as I lifted it. Inside, under a flickering bulb, were rows of boxes. But it wasn't the boxes that made my blood run cold. It was what was hanging on the far wall, a collection of photos. Photos of me, of Lily, taken from a distance, at the park, at the grocery store, at school. My knees buckled, and I had to grab the doorframe to stay upright. I stumbled forward, pulling one of the boxes open. Inside were stacks of papers, bank statements, fake IDs, passports with Daniel's face but different names, weapons, cash. A burner phone that buzzed suddenly, making me nearly scream. I dropped it like it burned my hand. And then I saw the folder. Custody Plan Phase 2. My vision blurred as I flipped it open. Inside were pages detailing a plan to discredit me further, planting drugs, bribing a neighbor to claim I was abusive, even staging a break-in. I felt sick. This wasn't just about winning custody, this was about erasing me completely. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I jumped, heart slamming against my ribs. A text from Mr. Patel. "Urgent, Daniel made bail, stay somewhere safe tonight." The room spun. He was out, and if he knew I was here, he'd come for me. I grabbed as many files and photos as I could, stuffing them into a duffel bag. My hands moved on autopilot, but my mind was screaming. As I turned to leave, I heard it, the faint creak of the main door. Someone else was here. My breath hitched. I killed my phone screen and pressed myself against the cold metal wall. Footsteps echoed down the corridor. Slow. Deliberate. I clenched my fists, every muscle tensed. If Daniel had followed me here, I didn't know if I'd make it out alive. My thoughts flashed to Lily, sleeping back at home, trusting me to keep her safe. I couldn't let him win. Not tonight. The footsteps grew closer, and I could see the shadow stretching long across the floor. My heart hammered so loudly, I was sure it would give me away. I tightened my grip on the duffel bag, ready to run, to fight, to do whatever it took. The shadow stopped just a few feet away from my unit, and I held my breath so hard my lungs burned. Every instinct screamed at me to bolt, but my legs felt locked in place. The figure stepped closer, and in the dim light I caught a glimpse. It wasn't Daniel. It was a man in a dark hoodie, face hidden, moving with too much purpose to be random. My pulse spiked even higher. If this wasn't Daniel, then who was it? And why did they come here in the middle of the night? The man paused, looking around, then pulled out a keycard and swiped it at a unit 2 doors down from mine. Relief mixed with fresh panic. He wasn't here for me, at least not yet, but I couldn't risk being seen. Clutching the bag tighter, I edged toward the back door of the facility, every step feeling like a lifetime. I could still hear him shuffling through his own unit, muttering under his breath. I made it to the door and pushed it open just wide enough to slip out. The cold night air hit me like a slap, and I sucked in a deep breath, willing my shaking body to move. I ran to my car, barely registering the sharp pain in my side from breathing too hard. My hands fumbled with the keys, dropping them once, twice, before I finally got the door open. I slid in and locked the doors, my entire body trembling. I couldn't stop staring at the rearview mirror, half expecting Daniel's face to appear at any second. The drive home was a blur, my mind racing with every possible nightmare. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I felt like I had run a marathon. The house was dark, still, and for a terrifying moment, I wondered if Daniel had already been here. I rushed inside, calling for Lily in a hoarse whisper. Relief flooded me when I found her still asleep, curled up with her stuffed rabbit, breathing softly. I locked every door and window in the house, double-checking them like a woman possessed. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a private number. I didn't answer, but my voicemail pinged immediately after. With shaking hands, I hit play. Daniel's voice oozed through the speaker, calm but laced with venom. "You think you're clever, don't you? Taking my things? Poking your nose where it doesn't belong? You forget, I always stay one step ahead. You're playing a game you can't win, sweetheart." The message ended, leaving a suffocating silence in its wake. My knees buckled, and I sank to the floor. He knew. Somehow he already knew I had been at the storage unit. My heart twisted painfully. This was bigger than just a custody battle now. Daniel wasn't just trying to ruin me, he was prepared to destroy me completely. I forced myself to stand, grabbing the duffel bag and dumping its contents on the dining table. The photos, the fake IDs, the custody plan folder. It was all here, physical proof of his schemes. But my eyes landed on something else I hadn't noticed before. A small black notebook, wedged between the papers. I flipped it open, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Names, dates, amounts, payments made to various people, lawyers, private investigators, even a judge's assistant, bribes, payoffs. Daniel had been greasing palms for months, maybe years, to build this fake narrative against me. My head spun. No wonder the judge had looked so convinced at first. The whole system was rigged in Daniel's favor. I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't trust the local police, not if Daniel had people in his pocket. My mind scrambled for someone, anyone, outside his reach. Then I remembered Leah, an old friend from college who now worked as an investigative journalist in another city. She had once told me, "If you're ever in deep, and I mean real deep, call me." No questions asked. My fingers trembled as I dialed her number. It rang twice before she answered, her voice groggy with sleep. "Hello? Leah, it's me. I need your help. I think my ex is trying to frame me, and it's bigger than I thought. I have proof. I can't go to the cops here. I don't know who I can trust." There was a pause, then her voice sharpened. "Where are you right now? Are you safe?" "I don't know. I whispered. My voice cracked. He knows I found his stuff. He called me. He's watching us. Pack a bag, Leah said immediately. Get your daughter and come to me. I'll book you a motel for tonight in a different city. We'll blow this wide open, but you have to move now. Tears stung my eyes as I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Okay. Send me pictures of everything you found, right now. And don't use your normal phone. Use a burner if you can get one. He might be tracking you. Her words jolted me into action. I grabbed Lily's school bag and started stuffing clothes and essentials into it. My mind screamed at me to hurry, every creak of the house making me jump. I tiptoed into Lily's room and gently shook her awake. Her sleepy eyes blinked up at me. Mommy? What's happening? I forced a smile, swallowing the lump in my throat. We're going on a little trip, sweetie. Just you and me. Right now, okay? She nodded, still half asleep, trusting me without question. That trust broke my heart and steeled my resolve all at once. As I zipped up the bag, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the hallway mirror. My face pale, eyes wide with fear but burning with something else now. Determination. I wasn't just running anymore. I was going to end this. I was going to bring Daniel down, no matter how deep his claws went. I texted Leah the photos, using an old backup phone I found in the drawer. Her reply came fast. Got them. This is bigger than I thought. Be careful. Motel address incoming. My phone buzzed again, another private number. I didn't dare answer, but the voicemail came through a second later. Daniel again, voice colder this time. Run all you want. I always find you, and when I do, no one's going to save you. My stomach turned. I couldn't let Lily hear this. I grabbed the keys, lifted her into my arms, and carried her out to the car. The night air was thick, heavy like it knew something terrible was about to unfold. As I buckled Lily in and started the engine, I glanced back at the house, the home I had fought so hard to keep, now just another battleground. I gripped the wheel, heart pounding, adrenaline flooding every vein. This wasn't just about custody anymore. This was war. And I was done playing defense. The car's headlights cut through the empty streets as I drove, every turn feeling like I was being hunted. I kept checking the rearview mirror, half expecting Daniel's car to appear out of the shadows. Lily had fallen back asleep in the back seat, her head leaning against the window, completely unaware of the storm we were about to face. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly they ached, but I couldn't relax. Not yet. Leah's message pinged on the backup phone. Motel 9, West Bridge exit, rooms under Taylor, go straight there, no stops. I punched the directions into the GPS and floored the gas, heart racing faster with every mile I put between us and that house. But even as I drove, my mind wasn't still. That notebook, those names, those payments, it wasn't just proof against Daniel. It was dangerous. If he had gone this far, if he had bribed people inside the system, then I was up against more than just him. I was up against a whole chain of people willing to protect him for a price. That thought sank deep into my gut like ice. 40 minutes later, I pulled into the Motel 9 parking lot, its flickering neon sign buzzing in the dark. I parked as close to the room number Leah had sent as I could, keeping one hand on my phone and my eyes scanning the lot. It looked deserted, but I wasn't taking any chances. I woke Lily gently. "Sweetheart, we're here. I need you to be really quiet and stick close to me, okay?" She nodded sleepily, clutching her rabbit tighter. I scooped her up, grabbed the bag, and hurried to the room. The keycard worked, and the door clicked open. I slipped inside and locked it behind me, checking every lock twice before pulling the curtains shut. The room was small, musty, but it felt like a fortress compared to the fear that had chased me here. I set Lily down on the bed, and she was asleep again within seconds. My body wanted to collapse too, but I couldn't. Not with the weight of everything I had just uncovered sitting in my bag. I dumped the papers and notebook onto the bed, flipping through them again, slower this time. That's when I saw it. A name I recognized. Judge Halverson. The same judge from our custody hearing. His name was listed next to a date and an amount, $50,000, for expedited ruling. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I might be sick. Daniel had bought the decision. That's why the judge had looked convinced before I even opened my mouth in court. All this time, I had been fighting fair while Daniel played dirty behind the scenes. I snapped photos of every page and sent them to Leah. Her reply came fast. "Holy shut! This is huge! Bigger than local news! Federal crime! Stay put! I'm making calls." For the first time that night, I let out a shaky breath. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way out of this. A way to not only clear my name but take Daniel down for good. But just as that thought formed, the burner phone buzzed again. Another private number, another voicemail. My heart clenched as I played it, already knowing who it would be. Daniel's voice was like a blade in my ear. "Running only makes it worse. I gave you a chance to settle this quietly. Now you're forcing my hand. The girl belongs with me. You're unstable, remember? Everyone thinks so. And soon, they'll believe what I show them next. You've already lost." The phone slipped from my hand, and I felt the world tilt. He wasn't just threatening me. He was planning his next move. I could feel it in every word he spoke. He wasn't done, not by a long shot. I picked up the phone and texted Leah. "He's still coming. He won't stop." Her reply came almost instantly. "Then we take it public. I'm calling my editor. This story's going national by morning. You just have to hang in there." But even as I read her words, a cold dread settled over me. I glanced at Lily, sleeping so peacefully, and I knew Daniel wouldn't wait until morning. He would strike before I had a chance to expose him. That was his pattern. That was always his way. I turned off every light in the room, my heart pounding like a drum. My mind raced through every scenario. Did he have someone following me? Did he know about this motel? Was someone in his pocket already watching the parking lot? I crept to the window, pulling the curtain back just an inch to peek outside. Nothing. Just the empty lot and the hum of the neon sign. But I couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were on me. That somewhere in the dark, Daniel was already making his next move. I grabbed my bag, shoved the papers and the notebook back inside, and sat on the edge of the bed, wide-eyed and frozen. Every noise outside made my heart leap. A car door slamming, a distant shout, the hum of an engine idling too long. Hours passed like that. My body numb, my mind locked in a state of hyper-alertness. Leah texted again. "Editor's in. Story goes live at 6 a.m. FBI contacts incoming. You're not alone in this." But the clock read 3:12 a.m., and I knew in my gut I had to survive these next few hours first. Because Daniel wasn't going to wait for the morning news. He was going to try and erase me before I could even speak. And that's when I heard it. The softest knock at the door. 3 taps. Deliberate. Slow. My blood ran cold. I reached for the lamp, ready to smash it over someone's head if I had to, my heart slamming so loud I thought it might wake Lily. Another knock. 3 more taps. This wasn't over. Not yet. And I had a terrible feeling. The real nightmare was just beginning. I stayed frozen, every muscle in my body locked in place, barely daring to breathe. The knock stopped, but the silence that followed was even worse. I pressed my ear against the door, trying to hear anything. Footsteps, voices, a car engine. But there was nothing. Just that awful, heavy quiet that made the air feel thick and poisonous. I glanced back at Lily. She was still asleep, her small chest rising and falling softly. That sight alone gave me the strength to move. I couldn't let whatever was outside get near her. I tightened my grip on the lamp, tiptoed toward the door, and peeked through the peephole. No one was there. But my gut screamed that this wasn't over. My mind raced. Was this some kind of game? A warning? Or was someone waiting just out of view, trying to lure me into opening the door? I backed away and grabbed my phone with trembling hands, texting Leah. "Someone knocked." "I don't see anyone. What do I do?" Her response came fast. "Don't open. Stay low. I'm calling local cops now. Hang tight." I let out a shaky breath and bolted the door tighter, pushing the flimsy motel chair under the handle like that would actually stop someone determined enough. I checked every window again, making sure they were locked, the curtains drawn. My heart wouldn't stop racing. The minutes crawled by like hours. I kept expecting the knocks to come back, or worse, for someone to try breaking in. But nothing. Just the same dead silence, except for the distant hum of a truck on the highway and the soft buzz of that cursed neon sign outside. Then my phone rang. Not a text. A call. From Leah. I answered in a whisper. "Hello?" Her voice was tight, urgent. "Listen to me carefully. The local cops are en route, but you need to be ready. I just got a call from my source at the station. Your ex filed a missing persons report, said you kidnapped Lily. He's trying to get an emergency order to track your phone." I felt my stomach drop out. He's going to find me. "Unless you ditch that phone right now. Get another burner if you can. And whatever you do, when the cops show up, don't open until they show ID through the peephole. Got it?" I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Got it." "And Ava?" Leah's voice softened, but the edge of fear was still there. "Daniel's desperate. That makes him dangerous. If he figures out you have that notebook and those files, he'll come after you harder. This isn't just about custody anymore. This is about survival. Yours and Lily's." Tears blurred my vision, but I blinked them away. "I'm not letting him take her. Never again." "Good, because I just spoke to a federal agent. They're interested now. Real charges. Bribery, fraud, maybe worse, but they need you alive to testify." I swallowed hard. Alive. That word felt suddenly too fragile, too uncertain. A soft noise outside made me jump. This time it wasn't at the door, it was near the window. A shuffle, a scrape. My heart leapt into my throat. I ducked low, clutching Lily's rabbit in one hand and the lamp in the other. I crawled toward the window, keeping my head below the sill. My pulse thundered so loudly I could barely hear anything else. Another scrape, like someone trying to pry the window open. Panic seized me. I reached for my phone, ready to call 911, when headlights flooded the parking lot. A squad car pulled in, red and blue lights flashing, siren off but bright as day. Whoever had been at the window vanished into the dark. I heard the scuffle of running footsteps, fast and heavy, fading into the distance. I bolted up and rushed to the peephole. 2 officers stepped out of the car, one shining a flashlight around the lot, the other walking toward my door. He knocked, firm and loud. "Police, open up, ma'am. Show's over." I hesitated, heart still pounding. "Badge through the peephole first," I called out, voice shaking but steady enough. A moment later, a badge appeared in front of the peephole. Officer Jennings, Westbridge PD. It matched the name Leah had given me. I unlocked the door and cracked it open just a sliver. The officer's face was calm but serious. "You okay in here?" I nodded weakly. "Someone tried to get in. The window." He turned to his partner. "Check around back. Get the manager to pull security footage. Now." The other officer took off running as I opened the door fully, still holding Lily close. She was awake now, rubbing her eyes and confused. "It's okay, baby," I whispered, even though I wasn't sure if it really was. The officer stepped inside, looking around quickly. "You did the right thing. Staying put, calling it in. We'll get a statement from you, but first, I want to make sure whoever was creeping around is long gone." I sank onto the bed, every ounce of energy draining out of me at once. For a moment I thought I might just collapse there and then, but then I remembered. This wasn't the end. This was just one battle in a much bigger war. Daniel had tried to corner me tonight. He wanted me to feel hunted, helpless. But he'd underestimated one thing. I wasn't running anymore, and when the sun rose and Leah's story went live, the whole world would see the truth. But deep inside, I knew. Before that happened, Daniel would make one final move, and it would be the most dangerous one yet. By morning, the motel felt like a crime scene. Yellow tape fluttered at the edge of the parking lot where the cops had found fresh footprints leading toward the woods. The manager looked pale as a ghost when he handed over the grainy security footage, just a shadowy figure in a hoodie creeping along the windows before bolting when the squad car lights flashed. No clear face, no license plate, just enough to confirm what I already knew. Daniel wasn't sending lawyers now. He was sending people. Lily clung to me, her small hand wrapped tight around my thumb as we checked out. I could feel her trembling, even though she tried to act brave. I wanted to tell her everything would be okay, that the worst was over, but lying to her now felt like breaking something sacred. So instead, I just squeezed her hand and said, "We're gonna keep moving, baby. Mommy's got you." Leah called while I packed our few bags into the back seat of the rental car. Her voice was sharper now, like she'd barely slept. "Ava, it's time. My contact at the FBI wants to meet. They've seen enough of the files you sent me. They're prepping to take Daniel down, but they need you to testify. Today." My heart hammered. "Where?" "There's a safe house 2 hours from you. Quiet, off the grid. I'll text you the coordinates. But listen, get rid of your phone after this call. Burn it if you have to. Daniel's people might still be pinging your location." I nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay, I'll do it." "And Ava, they also got wind of something else." Her voice dropped. "Daniel's already filed an emergency court order. He's claiming you're mentally unfit and that you kidnapped Lily. If the wrong cop pulls you over, they might try to take her right there on the spot." A cold wave of terror washed through me. So what do I do? Stick to back roads, avoid highways and cameras, and don't stop unless you absolutely have to. Once you're at the safe house, we can breathe. But until then, you're still in the lion's den. I glanced at Lily, buckling herself in the back seat, her bunny still clutched tight. I didn't have the luxury of fear anymore. I had to move. "Okay," I whispered. "We're on our way." I ditched my phone in a trash bin outside a gas station, watching it disappear under a pile of old wrappers and coffee cups. A part of me wanted to smash it into pieces, but there wasn't time. I got back in the car, adjusted the rearview mirror so I could see Lily's face, and started the engine. The drive was tense from the first mile. Every car that came up behind me felt like a threat. Every glance from a stranger made my skin crawl. I stuck to the plan, winding roads through small towns, avoiding any place that looked too busy or had cameras. My eyes darted constantly between the road and the rearview mirror. About 40 minutes in, I spotted a black SUV that seemed to appear out of nowhere. It stayed behind me, keeping just enough distance to look casual, but not far enough to ease my nerves. I changed lanes. It changed too. I took an unexpected left turn. So did it. My chest tightened. Was it them? Or was my mind just unraveling from the stress? I pressed the gas a little harder, taking sharper turns, testing the driver behind me. When I glanced back again, the SUV was gone. Disappeared down another road. Relief flooded through me, but it was short-lived. Because just 10 minutes later, my dashboard lit up with flashing blue lights. A local sheriff's cruiser was pulling me over. Panic surged. Leah's words echoed in my head. "If the wrong cop pulls you over, they might try to take her." I couldn't just speed away. That would make me look guilty, but stopping could mean losing Lily right here on the side of the road. I forced my hands to stay steady as I pulled over, heart thudding so loud I could barely hear anything else. I glanced at Lily in the back seat. She was watching me with wide, scared eyes. "It's okay, baby," I whispered, though my throat was so tight it barely made a sound. "Just stay quiet, okay? No matter what." The officer approached slowly, tapping on the window with 2 knuckles. I rolled it down a crack, just enough to talk. He looked about 50, heavy-set with mirrored sunglasses that hid his eyes. "License and registration, ma'am." I kept my voice calm. "May I ask why I'm being stopped, officer?" He adjusted his belt. "You got a brake light out, and I need to ask you a few questions. We got an alert about a woman matching your description traveling with a minor, possible parental abduction." My blood turned to ice. "That's a mistake," I said, forcing a thin smile. "I have full custody of my daughter." He raised a brow. "Mind stepping out of the vehicle while we sort this out?" Every instinct screamed at me. "Don't get out. Don't let them separate you from Lily." But before I could say a word, another voice cut through the air. "Hey, Deputy Collins. Dispatch needs you on that 1066 off Route 7. Another cruiser had pulled up behind us. A younger officer leaned out the window, waving. The first cop cursed under his breath, muttered something about paperwork, and waved me off. "Looks like you got lucky, ma'am. Get that brake light fixed." I didn't wait for a second chance. I thanked him, rolled up the window, and drove off fast enough to make the tires squeal. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the wheel. Lily's voice broke the silence, small and afraid. "Mommy, are they gonna take me away?" I blinked back tears and reached for her hand, squeezing it tight. "No, baby. Nobody's taking you. Not now, not ever." But deep down, I knew I'd just had my closest call yet. And Daniel wasn't finished. I had to make it to that safe house, no matter what, because the next time they came for us, they might not miss. And somewhere, deep in my gut, I knew the final trap was already being set. The last stretch of the drive felt like a countdown ticking louder with every passing mile. My knuckles were white against the steering wheel, and every bump in the road made Lily stir in the back seat, her little face pale and tired. The safe house was supposed to be just ahead, hidden behind an old church that Leah said was abandoned. But as I turned off the main road and followed the dirt path winding through the trees, a sick feeling coiled in my stomach. Too quiet. Too empty. When the house finally came into view, it looked like something out of a forgotten photograph. Peeling paint, boarded-up windows, but a single light flickering behind thick curtains. I parked the car but didn't cut the engine yet. My heart pounded. What if this was another trap? What if Daniel had already gotten here first? Lily's voice, soft and cracked, broke through. "Mommy, are we safe now?" I turned around, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Almost, baby. Just stay here. I'll check first." I slipped the small pocket knife from the glove box into my hand, the metal cool and steadying against my palm. Every step toward that door felt like walking through quicksand. I knocked once, sharp and loud. No answer. My pulse thundered in my ears as I tried again. Then, the door creaked open. Leah stood there, dark circles under her eyes, a gun holstered at her side. Relief flooded me so fast I nearly collapsed. She grabbed my arm, pulled me inside without a word, and locked the door behind us. "You made it," she muttered, checking through the peephole before turning back. "Barely. Daniel's people are all over this area. You have maybe an hour, 2 tops, before they find this place." I glanced around. The inside was bare, folding chairs, a battered table, a map spread across it with red circles marking nearby towns. It didn't feel safe, but at least it wasn't the wolves' den I'd left behind. "Lily's in the car," I whispered. "She's exhausted. Can I bring her in?" Leah nodded. "Quick, and then we talk next steps." I ran back, scooped up my daughter, and carried her inside, her head heavy against my shoulder. She barely noticed as I laid her down on an old couch and wrapped my jacket around her. Leah poured me a glass of water, her hands shaking almost as bad as mine. "Ava, there's something you need to know before we go any further." The dread in her voice made my stomach flip. "Daniel, he's not just trying to win custody. He's laundering money, millions, through shell companies tied to trafficking, and he's got politicians, judges, and law enforcement on his payroll. That's why your court case was doomed from the start. That's why they're calling you unstable and dangerous. It's not just about Lily, it's about silencing you before you can blow this whole thing open." I sank into a chair, my head spinning. So, what do I do? How do I fight someone that powerful? Leah's eyes hardened. "You do what no one expects. You go public. You leak everything. The video, the bank records, the court files. We send it to every news outlet, every whistleblower site. Once it's out there, even his money can't bury it fast enough." I swallowed hard. "And the court case?" "You'll still have to face it. But if we can expose him first, the judge won't be able to ignore it. He'll have no choice but to investigate, and with enough public pressure, you might actually get justice." My mind raced. The thought of dragging Lily through more chaos, more danger, it made my chest ache. But the alternative was worse. Letting Daniel win, letting him destroy both our lives in the shadows. I looked at Leah, my voice hoarse. "I'll do it. Whatever it takes. I'll bring him down." She gave a grim smile. "Good. Because we start tonight. The FBI agent is on his way here now with a burner laptop. Once you upload everything, there's no turning back. You ready for that?" I glanced at Lily, still asleep on the couch, her small hand clutching her bunny. The weight of every sleepless night, every bruise, every whispered threat settled in my chest like lead. I stood up, fists clenched. I've been ready for years. Let's finish this. But just as Leah nodded and reached for her phone to check on the agent's ETA, her face went pale. "No signal," she muttered, tapping the screen. "I had service 10 minutes ago." A cold shiver ran through me. "That's not good, is it?" Before she could answer, the power in the safe house cut out, lights flickering once, then dying completely. And in the silence that followed, we both heard it. The distant crunch of tires on gravel, growing louder. They'd found us. Leah didn't waste a second. She grabbed her gun off the table, checked the clip with hands that moved fast but steady. Her voice dropped to a whisper, sharp as a knife. "Get Lily, out the back, now." My legs moved before my brain could even catch up. I scooped Lily into my arms, her head flopping against my shoulder. She stirred, mumbling, "Mommy?" But I hushed her, kissing her hair and whispering promises I wasn't even sure I could keep. Leah yanked open a trapdoor behind the kitchen, something I hadn't even noticed when we walked in. A narrow staircase led down into pitch-black darkness. "Basement crawl space," she muttered. "It leads out behind the tree line. Go fast. Stay low. I'll buy you a minute." "Leah." My throat tightened. "You can't." But she cut me off, eyes flashing. "Ava, go. You're the only one who can finish this. Get Lily out and send those files. If I go down here, I go down swinging. Now move." I couldn't argue. I clutched Lily tighter and ducked into the crawl space just as Leah slammed the trapdoor shut above me. The darkness swallowed us whole. My heart pounded so loud I was sure they'd hear it. Above us I heard the front door crash open. Boots, shouts, men barking orders, and then gunfire. A sharp, deafening crack that echoed through the floorboards. Lily whimpered. I covered her mouth gently, tears stinging my eyes as I whispered, "Shh, baby. We're okay. We're okay. Mommy's got you." I crawled forward, knees scraping against cold dirt. The tunnel felt endless, but every inch I moved was 1 inch farther from Daniel's reach. I had no light, no idea if Leah was still breathing up there, but I couldn't stop now. After what felt like forever, I spotted faint slivers of light ahead. An opening. I pushed the panel aside and tumbled out into the forest, gulping fresh air like it was the only thing keeping me alive. My legs shook as I stood up, balancing Lily's weight against my hip. Her face was streaked with dirt and tears, but she clung to me without a word. Gunshots echoed in the distance again. Closer this time. I ran. Branches whipped against my face, roots snagged at my shoes, but I didn't slow down. Every step felt like it could be the one that made my legs give out, but I forced them forward anyway. I had no map, no plan, just the raw instinct to get as far away as possible. Then, through the trees, I spotted headlights. A car, parked off a dirt road. For a second, panic flared. What if it was Daniel's men? But then I saw him. A man stepping out of the car, holding up both hands in the universal sign of, "I'm not here to hurt you." "Ms. Ava, I'm Agent Ramirez. Leah sent me. You need to come with me right now." My knees buckled in relief, but I didn't fully trust anyone anymore. "Prove it," I gasped, clutching Lily closer. "Tell me something only Leah would know." He didn't hesitate. "She calls you Firebird, said to remind you that you rise even when they try to burn you down." A sob tore from my chest. I ran for the car. Agent Ramirez yanked open the back door. "Get in, fast. We have less than 5 minutes before they sweep this area." I slid in with Lily, barely shutting the door before he floored it, the car lurching forward on the gravel road. As we sped away, I looked back once, just in time to see flames rising above the trees. The safe house was burning. Leah. I covered my mouth, tears spilling over. Did she make it?" Ramirez's jaw clenched. "I don't know. We'll circle back once you're safe. Right now, priority is getting you to the satellite link-up. We leak the files tonight, or none of us make it out of this." Lily nestled against me, exhausted, her little voice raspy. "Mommy, I want to go home." I wrapped my arms around her, voice breaking. "I know, baby. We're gonna make a new home, somewhere safe, I promise." Ramirez glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You ready to end this, Ms. Ava? Once we hit send, Daniel's empire starts crumbling, but they'll come harder than ever before. I met his gaze, my voice steady for the first time in what felt like forever. I was ready the moment my daughter stood up in that courtroom. Let's finish this. The road stretched ahead, dark and winding, but for the first time, I could see a crack of light on the horizon. I tightened my hold on Lily. No matter what came next, I wasn't running anymore.